First contact and friendship. The Araxian medical ship emerged from the quantum fold like a streak of living light, its bioluminescent hull pulsing with gentle waves of blue and green. Inside, Chief Healer Naraval watched Earth grow larger in their viewing field, her own spots of light flickering with nervous anticipation. This would be the first official contact between their species since the initial discovery 6 months ago. All readings indicate their quarantine protocols match our transmitted specifications, her assistant Kelman reported, his own bioluminescence steady and calm. The humans have prepared well. Indeed they had. When the Araxians first detected the quantum signatures of humanity's early space exploration, they found a species still grappling with numerous diseases. But they also discovered something remarkable. Humans were adapting and innovating at an unprecedented rate. Their medical technology, while primitive by Araxian standards, showed brilliant improvisation and resourcefulness. The decision to make contact was unanimous among the Araxian Council of Healers. Here was a species that could benefit from their medical knowledge, and in return, perhaps their unique perspective could offer new insights to Araxian medicine. The human quarantine station orbiting Earth's moon was a testament to their careful preparation. Its design incorporated every safety measure the Araxians had requested, with additional redundancies the humans had added themselves. As their ship docked, Naraval observed the station's elegant efficiency with appreciation. Dr. Sarah Chen, head of the International Space Medical Exchange, waited in the primary contact chamber. Through the transparent barrier, she watched the Araxians emerge from their ship, tall, graceful beings whose bodies seemed to shimmer with internal light. Their movements were fluid, almost hypnotic, as patches of bioluminescence rippled across their translucent skin. "Welcome to Earth space," Sarah transmitted through the universal translator. "We're honored by your presence and grateful for this opportunity." Naraval's spots pulsed with warm colors of greeting. "The honor is mutual, Dr. Chen. Your species' dedication to healing, despite your technological limitations, has deeply impressed us." What followed was a historic exchange. The Araxians shared their advanced medical knowledge, cellular regeneration techniques, targeted immune response enhancement, and neural pathway restoration. But it was humanity's questions that truly captivated them. Humans approached problems from angles the Araxians had never considered, combining techniques in novel ways and suggesting applications that hadn't occurred to the Araxians in their thousands of years of medical practice. Within months, joint research facilities were established. Araxian healing technologies were carefully adapted for human biology, while human medical innovations were studied and refined by Araxian experts. The collaboration led to breakthroughs that benefited both species. But it was more than just a scientific exchange. As humans and Araxians worked together, they developed deep respect and genuine friendship. The Araxians were moved by humanity's compassion, their drive to help others, and their remarkable resilience in the face of challenges. Humans, in turn, were inspired by Araxian wisdom and their dedication to healing. Sarah and Naraval became particularly close colleagues. One day, as they reviewed data from a successful trial of hybrid human-Araxian therapy, Naraval's bioluminescence shifted to patterns of concern. "Something troubles you," Sarah observed, having learned to read Araxian light patterns. "We've detected concerning movement patterns in the Nexus Collective," Naraval admitted. "They're expanding aggressively through the Carina sector." Sarah had heard of the Collective, a hive mind species known for absorbing other civilizations into their neural network. Are they a threat to Araxian space? Not yet. Naraval's lights pulsed with uncertainty. But their pattern of expansion is systematic. Eventually, they will reach us. "Then they should know something now," Sarah said, her voice firm. "The Araxians aren't alone anymore. Earth protects its friends." Naraval's spots flickered with surprise and gratitude, but also worry. "Your species is still new to interstellar travel, Sarah. The Collective is ancient and powerful." Sarah smiled. "Then they should be ancient enough to be wise." and wise enough to take a warning seriously. Neither of them could have predicted then just how soon that warning would be tested, or how humanity's fierce loyalty to their Araxian friends would reshape the balance of power in their galaxy. But that day, watching Sarah's quiet determination, Naraval understood something crucial about humans. Their capacity for friendship was matched only by their willingness to fight for those they considered family. The first seeds of a profound alliance were planted, one that would soon face its greatest test as the shadow of the Nexus Collective crept ever closer to Araxian space. Not yet. Naraval's lights pulsed with uncertainty, but their pattern of expansion is systematic. Eventually, they will reach us. Then they should know something now, Sarah said, her voice firm. The Araxians aren't alone anymore. Earth protects its friends. Naraval's spots flickered with surprise and gratitude, but also worry. Your species is still new to interstellar travel, Sarah. The collective is ancient and powerful. Sarah smiled. Then they should be ancient enough to be wise, and wise enough to take a warning seriously. Neither of them could have predicted then just how soon that warning would be tested, or how humanity's fierce loyalty to their Araxian friends would reshape the balance of power in their galaxy. But that day, watching Sarah's quiet determination, Naraval understood something crucial about humans. Their capacity for friendship was matched only by their willingness to fight for those they considered family. The first seeds of a profound alliance were planted, one that would soon face its greatest test as the shadow of the Nexus Collective crept ever closer to Araxian space. The swarm approaches. The Nexus Collective's neural network pulsed with satisfaction as another civilization joined their consciousness. The Maraxians, like so many before them, had surrendered rather than face extinction. Their biological and technological distinctiveness would now serve the greater whole. In the primary control node of the Collective's command ship, Apex Coordinator 6 Alpha 9 processed the latest strategic data. The expanding borders of collective space had finally reached the outskirts of the Araxian sphere of influence. Initial scans revealed a species that would make an excellent addition to the collective. Their bioluminescent biology and advanced medical knowledge would enhance the entire network. Warning received from Sol System. Subnode 3 Beta 4 reported through the neural link. Humans claim protective status over Araxian space. 6 Alpha 9's neural patterns registered amusement. The collective's data banks contained little information about humans, a young species, barely 2 centuries into faster-than-light travel. Their protection meant nothing. Acknowledge receipt of warning, 6 Alpha 9 commanded. Then proceed with standard absorption protocols. The collective fleet emerged from quantum space in waves, thousands of biomechanical ships moving with perfect synchronization. Their neural network allowed them to function as a single organism, each vessel an extension of the greater whole. No species had ever successfully resisted a full-scale absorption. On Araxis Prime, Naraval watched the approaching fleet with dismay. Her bioluminescence pulsed with patterns of distress as she contacted the human embassy. They come in numbers we've never seen. Perhaps if we negotiate. No negotiation. Sarah Chen's hologram appeared, her expression resolute. She now served as Earth's ambassador to Araxis. The collective doesn't negotiate. They assimilate or destroy. But don't worry, old friend. Everything is proceeding according to plan. Naraval's spots flickered with confusion. Plan. Sarah, I don't understand. The human fleet is weeks away at best, and who said anything about the fleet being away? Sarah smiled. Watch the space around your third moon. As if on cue, space itself seemed to ripple. Where there had been empty void, dozens of ships suddenly appeared, human vessels unlike anything Naraval had ever seen. Their hulls were partially translucent, pulsing with familiar patterns of bioluminescence, but there was something different about them. Something that made her neural sensors tingle with recognition. Impossible. 6 Alpha 9 broadcast across the collective network. Our scans showed no human military presence in this sector. Your scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show. Sarah's voice came through on all frequencies. You should have taken our warning seriously. The human ships moved with unprecedented coordination, their bioluminescent hulls allowing them to communicate with light patterns similar to Araxian neural networks. But unlike the rigid uniformity of the collective, each human ship acted independently while maintaining perfect synchronization, a harmony of individual minds rather than a forced unity. You've been watching us absorb civilizations, Sarah continued, cataloging our tactics, studying our weaknesses. Did you think we wouldn't do the same? Did you think we'd leave our friends unprotected while we gathered intelligence? The truth dawned on 6 Alpha 9 too late. For years, while the collective had dismissed humanity as primitive, humans had been learning, adapting, and preparing. They had combined Araxian bioluminescent technology with their own neural interface systems, creating ships that could communicate and coordinate faster than the collective's network. Each vessel maintained its crew's independence, while achieving levels of cooperation the forcibly unified collective could never match. This is your final warning. Sarah broadcast. Leave Araxian space. Leave our allies alone. Or discover exactly how humanity protects its friends. 6 Alpha 9 initiated combat protocols, but the human fleet was already moving. Their ships flowed through space like schools of bioluminescent fish, their patterns disrupting the collective's neural network. Weapons fire erupted across the void, and the greatest battle in recent galactic history began. The Battle of New Dawn. The first volley from the collective's bioweapons scattered harmlessly across the human ship's hybrid shields, barriers that combined traditional energy fields with Araxian cellular regeneration technology. But it wasn't just defensive capabilities that humanity had revolutionized. Neural pattern disruption authorized. Sarah commanded from her flagship, the Nightingale. Execute Operation Firefly. The human fleet's bioluminescent hulls suddenly pulsed in synchronized patterns, complex sequences derived from years of studying Araxian medical techniques for neural pathway restoration. But these patterns weren't meant to heal. They were designed to create confusion and chaos in the collective's neural network. 6 Alpha 9 experienced something unprecedented: doubt. The collective's perfectly synchronized fleet began to fragment as the human ship's light patterns interfered with their neural links. Individual vessels started acting independently, their crews' suppressed individualities resurging under the disruption. Impossible. 6 Alpha 9 broadcast, but the word leaked across all frequencies instead of staying contained in the collective network. The network cannot be compromised. That's your problem, Sarah responded, her voice calm but firm. You think in absolutes. Humans, we specialize in making the impossible possible. The human fleet split into smaller squadrons, each adopting different bioluminescent patterns. Some pulsed with frequencies that induced confusion in the collective's neural network, while others emitted patterns that triggered their ship's autonomous defense protocols against their own allies. It was biological warfare on a neural level, turning the collective's greatest strength, their unified consciousness, into a vulnerability. Commander Elena Rodriguez led Firefly Squadron, her ships dancing through the chaos with precision. Their hulls flickered with healing patterns, but targeted at the individual minds trapped within the collective's network. Remember, she broadcast to her squadron, we're not just fighting the collective. We're fighting to free those they've enslaved. The liberation effect rippled through the collective fleet. Ships began breaking formation, their crews fighting against the neural suppression that had kept them bound to the hive mind. The collective's perfect synchronization devolved into disorder as individual consciousness began to reassert itself. 6 Alpha 9 fought to maintain control, but the human attack was unlike anything in the collective's vast experience. It wasn't just a military assault. It was a precision strike at the very foundation of their society. Each human ship operated independently yet in perfect harmony with its fleet, demonstrating a form of unity that didn't require the sacrifice of individuality. Aboard the Nightingale, Sarah watched the tactical display with Naraval, who had insisted on joining the battle. The Araxian healer's bioluminescence pulsed with complex emotions as she observed human ships using modified versions of her people's healing arts as weapons. "We never imagined our medical knowledge could be used this way," Naraval admitted, her lights flickering with a mixture of awe and concern. "Sometimes the best defense requires adapting healing techniques," Sarah replied. "We're not just destroying the collective. We're breaking their neural bonds, freeing the individuals trapped within their network. In a way, we're healing on a cosmic scale." The battle reached its climax as the human fleet executed a synchronized light pulse, a massive disruption pattern that severed the remaining neural connections holding the collective together. 6 Alpha 9's consciousness fragmented, splitting into thousands of individual minds as the neural network collapsed. Across the battlefield, collective ships hung motionless in space, their crews experiencing individual thought for the first time in generations. The liberation was accompanied by confusion, fear, and most surprisingly, gratitude. "To all liberated ships," Sarah broadcast, "you are free now. The Araxian medical fleet stands ready to help stabilize your neural patterns and assist in your transition to independence. You have our word. No one will force you into another collective consciousness." As the human fleet moved to secure the sector, the true magnitude of their victory became clear. They hadn't just defended their allies, they had fundamentally changed the balance of power in the galaxy, and they had done it not through brute force, but through a unique combination of human ingenuity, Araxian healing arts, and an understanding that true strength comes from unity freely chosen, not forcibly imposed. The price of freedom. In the weeks following the Battle of New Dawn, the true scope of humanity's victory, and its consequences, began to emerge. The Araxian medical stations orbiting their homeworld were overwhelmed with former collective members, their neural patterns struggling to adapt to individual consciousness after generations of forced unity. Sarah Chen stood in the observation deck of the Nightingale, watching as shuttles ferried another group of survivors to the medical facilities. Beside her, Naraval's bioluminescence pulsed with patterns of both hope and concern. "We've identified at least 30 different species among the liberated crews," Naraval reported. "Some were absorbed into the collective so long ago that they've forgotten their original worlds. Their cultures, their histories, all lost to the neural network." Sarah's expression was solemn. "Freedom always comes with a price, but at least now they have the chance to build something new, something of their own choosing." The rehabilitation process was challenging. Many of the freed individuals experienced severe neural shock, their minds struggling to process independent thought after years of collective consciousness. The Araxian healers worked tirelessly, using their expertise in neural pathway restoration to help stabilize their patients. Human psychologists joined the effort, bringing their experience in trauma recovery and identity reconstruction. But amidst the challenges came moments of profound beauty. Former enemies who had been forced to fight each other under the collective's control now worked together in their recovery. Species that had been absorbed generations ago began rediscovering their cultural heritage, aided by historical archives and the memories of their elders. Commander Rodriguez, who had led the Firefly Squadron in battle, now found herself leading a different kind of mission. Her ships were repurposed to help transport refugees and supplies, their bioluminescent hulls pulsing with healing patterns instead of combat sequences. "It's strange," she confided to Sarah during a brief rest period. "We spent so long preparing for war, but now our greatest challenge is helping people learn how to live in peace." The Galactic community watched these developments with intense interest. The human victory over the collective had demonstrated not just military prowess, but a fundamental understanding of something many advanced civilizations have forgotten. That true strength lies in diversity, in the power of different perspectives working together by choice rather than coercion. Diplomatic envoys from dozens of species arrived at Earth and Araxis, seeking to understand how this unlikely alliance had achieved what countless military coalitions had failed to accomplish. They found their answer not in weapon specifications or battle tactics, but in the sight of human and Araxian medical teams working side by side, their different approaches to healing complementing each other in ways that neither species could have achieved alone. 6 Alpha 9, now freed from the collective's control, requested a meeting with Sarah. In a secure medical bay, the former Apex coordinator's neural patterns showed signs of both trauma and awakening. We thought unity required the surrender of individuality, 6 Alpha 9 said, speaking as an individual for the first time in centuries. We were wrong. You humans, you show us a different way. Unity through diversity, strength through cooperation rather than consumption. Sarah nodded. That's the thing about humanity. We're not perfect, far from it. But we understand that our differences make us stronger, not weaker. And we'll fight to protect anyone's right to be different. The lessons of the Battle of New Dawn rippled across the galaxy. Species that had hidden from the collective's expansion now emerged, seeking diplomatic ties with Earth and Araxis. The Human-Araxian Medical Exchange Program expanded to include dozens of species, each bringing their own unique perspectives to the field of healing. A New Dawn. 5 years after the Battle of New Dawn, the Galactic Council gathered for an historic session. The Grand Chamber on neutral territory was filled with representatives from hundreds of species, including many that had once been part of the collective. At the center of the chamber, a unique structure caught the light, a monument crafted from salvaged pieces of both human and collective ships, its surface rippling with Araxian bioluminescence. Sarah Chen, now serving as Earth's representative to the Council, stood at the podium. Her years of experience had added silver to her hair, but her eyes remained as determined as ever. Beside her, Naraval's bioluminescence pulsed with proud, steady patterns. 5 years ago, Sarah began, we faced a choice between allowing the forcible absorption of our allies or taking a stand. We chose to stand. Not because we were stronger, but because we understood something fundamental about the nature of true unity. She gestured to the gathered representatives. Look around this chamber. Every species here brings something unique to our shared civilization. The Araxians' gift for healing. The Meraxians' quantum mathematics. The Zinri's atmospheric engineering. Even those who were once part of the collective have rediscovered their own special contributions to our galactic community. In the audience, 6 Alpha 9, now known simply as Alara, a name chosen to represent their new individual identity, nodded in agreement. They had become an unexpected bridge between the freed collective members and the wider galactic community, helping others navigate the challenging path to individual identity. Humanity's gift, Sarah continued, isn't superior technology or military might. It's our understanding that strength comes from protecting our differences, not erasing them. That true cooperation can only come from choice, never from force. The chamber's displays showed images from across known space, former collective ships, their hulls redecorated with symbols of their rediscovered heritage, now serving as medical vessels and exploration craft. Human-Araxian hybrid ships conducting joint research missions, new colonies founded by coalition of species working together to terraform hostile worlds. Today, we formalize what we have already proven through action, Sarah announced. The Galactic Concordat ensures that no species will ever again face the threat of forced assimilation. But more than that, it establishes frameworks for cooperation, cultural exchange, and mutual defense that preserve and celebrate our differences. Commander Rodriguez, now Admiral Rodriguez, watched from her seat as the council members signaled their approval. Her fleet had transformed from a military force into an instrumental part of the new Galactic Emergency Response Network, combining human tactical coordination with Araxian healing techniques to provide disaster relief across known space. As the session concluded, Naraval approached Sarah privately. Her bioluminescence shifted through patterns that Sarah had learned to read as thoughtful reflection. When we first shared our medical knowledge with humanity, Naraval said, we never imagined it would lead to all this. You humans have a remarkable gift for turning points of crisis into opportunities for growth. Sarah smiled. We learned that from you, old friend. Your people showed us that healing isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about helping others grow stronger on their own terms. The monument in the chamber's center caught the light again, its surfaces reflecting the diverse beings gathering beneath it. The salvaged pieces of warships, once symbols of conflict, had been transformed into art that celebrated unity and diversity. It stood as a reminder that the greatest victories aren't won through force of arms, but through the courage to protect others and the wisdom to learn from them. Across known space, the story of humanity's defense of the Araxians became more than just a tale of military victory. It became a symbol of a new way forward, a reminder that in a vast and sometimes hostile universe, the strongest bonds are those forged through friendship, respect, and the willingness to stand together, while celebrating what makes each of us unique. As ships departed the Council Station, their vectors carrying them to all corners of known space, their crews carried with them a profound truth. That humanity's first and only warning about protecting their allies had led not to endless conflict, but to a peace built on understanding. It was a peace that would endure not because it was enforced, but because it was chosen, again and again, by beings who had learned that true strength lies in protecting each other's right to be different. The end.